In Days of Great Peace by Mouni Sadhu. Chapter 28. The Eyes of Maharshi. During the darshan in the hall, there is usually no one between me and Maharshi's couch, which means that I can contemplate his eyes with no obstacles between, their gaze being generally turned in my direction and usually looking straight ahead. At first, I lacked the courage to look intently into the face of the sage. Perhaps this shyness was the last vestige of those worldly habits which do not permit a well-behaved person to gaze insistently into the eyes of another. There may also have been another reason. My intuition was whispering that those eyes saw infinitely farther than ordinary human eyes, which meant that the whole content of my being was wide open before their gaze. Some time was needed to get rid of this feeling of shyness, which in Roman Catholic world makes confession before a priest so difficult for some people. But the effort had to be made, and in a few weeks all obstacles disappeared, and a mute, yet 1,000-fold more efficacious confession became a daily practice in my inner contact with Maharshi. I had to learn utter frankness, for without this quality, there cannot be any direct spiritual approach to the Master. The eyes of Maharshi always seem to be the same, for I cannot see in them any modification of expression due to emotion or thought. But that does not mean that they are devoid of the shining glow of life. On the contrary, light and life are constantly flowing through them with a majesty and intensity unimaginable to those who have not seen them. The large, dark pupils are always full of resplendent light. Even in his photographs, this extraordinary intensity of light in his eyes is noted by every careful observer, even though he may not know the one they represent. A stream of peace, powerful yet sweet, flows from these eyes. They glow with a perfect understanding of all the weaknesses, defects, and inner difficulties of those who look upon them. Personally, I have also noticed in them a slight, almost imperceptible smile of indulgence for the whole surrounding world and all of us, who are representatives of the great illusion. When I look almost by chance into the eyes of some of the people in the hall, I see that they do not reflect in the slightest degree even a fragment of the light which is shining through Maharshi's eyes. In comparison, they seem to be almost lifeless, and I am not able to get rid of this impression. At least for the moment, I am unable to control it, though I know that making such comparisons is wrong and that I should not pass judgment on others. Everyone is just what he is able to be, neither more nor less, and life is the same in each one of us. Yet, although I accept the truth of it, in theory, I cannot help feeling this difference when I look into the eyes of the saint and then happen to gaze into those of others. This thought, although wrong and unjust, slips into my mind, as it were, and abides there, until I invite it to leave, by means of the well-known self-inquiry, or vichara. The highest manifests himself in everything and every living being. However low its level may seem to us, he is present in the plant and in the insect, in the snake, in the animal, and in man. The difference is only in the degree and perfection of his manifestation. It is obvious that we are able to perceive only an infinitesimal part of the manifested Absolute. The higher forms of his revelation are beyond the reach of our limited consciousness, and yet there must be something just on this last boundary of our perceptive faculties which reflects in a perfection and the gaze of God. A strange, new, and powerful current awakens in my consciousness. It is with a kind of expectation that I am trying to hold all my attention above the ocean of changing thoughts. I seem to hear a whisper. Persevere, and you will find the answer. Suddenly, light comes, and it is like a lightning flash of tremendous power. I am dazzled, terrified for a moment in the face of the reality seen. Of course, there is no hope of being able to convey this vision to others in words, but now I am entitled to say, I know who looks through Maharshi's eyes.